You're listening to The Girl Dad Show.
Welcome to Season 3 of The Girl Dad Show, where we explore the intersection of parenthood and entrepreneurial spirit. Join me and some incredible guests as we share tips and tricks for finding work-life balance and making a positive impact not only on the world, but also our families. Let's create a fulfilling life together. It's The Girl Dad Show, Season 3. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Girl Dad Show. Today is another Girl Dad Talk where I talk to you in between wonderful interviews with amazing guests that I talk to about their professional journey while building a family. And today I want to talk to you about my professional journey and share with you some things that are going on in my life, and hopefully we can all learn together and grow together. And today specifically, I want to talk to you about just the many problems that come with being a parent and having kids. We had a massive meltdown yesterday, and I want to talk about it. Let's go over it. I'm sure that this is no new thing to anybody else that's a parent, and we all go through it. But I think that it's one of those things that, we just need to talk more about. And I'd love to share with you my personal journey going through this yesterday. My daughter, Lily specifically, is the one that had the meltdown yesterday, and I'm not entirely sure what caused it, but she woke up kind of in a bad mood, and it just started right from the start. She just had she woke up with a bad mood, and it's just been really hard for her all day to keep up with her energy level and positivity, and she just kind of struggled with it all day and all morning. And it was really unfortunate because we had a lot of plans for Sunday, and it was just one of those things that we had. My wife was going to take the girls to church, and I was going to, take a very important work meeting. And Sunday's the day that I actually, really frame up my week. And it's the time that I kind of spend to, think about what went well, what I want to accomplish, and how to map out my week for the coming week. And it's kind of like my time to think and reset, and sans kids and family and sans work, quite frankly. And this Sunday, I actually had a pretty important meeting in addition to my normal kind of re-strategizing time. And then afterwards, we were going to meet for lunch and then try to take them somewhere fun and do something that was very family oriented, as I've been traveling quite a bit, and I was going to travel again very soon. And then we're going to go hang out with some friends in Austin, and it literally went to crap. I mean, the whole day just went to crap. And unlike most meltdowns, we had just kind of an overarching theme, and it was just kind of difficult to overcome all day long. And it led to so many different problems, of how do we navigate the plans that we have when, our kids are being so difficult through these changes, or their attitude isn't there. And, sure enough, we canceled the first set of plans. We didn't go to church, and I didn't end up doing my meeting or kind of my reset for the week, which I'm still paying for right now. It's been very painful the last 24 hours, but it's just part of being a parent. And it's part of being a parent, working with kids that are, going to break down sometimes. And just like us, adults, we have bad days and we have meltdowns as well. And I think kids are no different. The unique thing about this one, though, is that it lasted for so long. Lily was just having a really crummy day, and she was just very, very emotional and not one of those resettable moments. And it just kind of permeated throughout the day. Inevitably, we were able to turn it around by the afternoon and have fun and enjoy ourselves. And Lily was even able to express herself a little bit and talk about, what she likes and doesn't like, and, be able to articulate some of her feelings and emotions, which was really nice. But, we ended up sleeping super late, and the kids ended up staying up way past their bedtime. And it was a really long and stressful day. It just kind of cascaded and impacted and just kept going and going and going, ultimately to the point where now it's impacting my entire week. But I'm here, and I want to talk to you about it because there's a couple of things that I think that are worth unpacking. One is my reaction to the emotional outburst, right? The illogical outbursts that were coming up. And Amy and I talked about this during the day as well as, afterwards. But, I have kind of a equal level response to most things in business. And, if in business someone tries to, strong arm me, I typically strong arm back. Or if someone plays a sleight of hand or does something that's a little inappropriate, I'll call it out, right? And I'll basically try to combat these problems before they spiral out any deeper. And I pride myself in my abilities to be very direct and confrontational to a certain degree about things that I see that could possibly lead to, gray areas or miscommunications or misconceptions, and try to keep things as logical and objective as possible. And it's not really helpful when your kids are super emotional and they don't know how to express themselves and they don't want to be logical. And it was a really good life lesson for me that not everything in parenting is like business. And although there's so many great parallels, as a business coach to being a parent, there are also a lot of things that are not good parallels and very big contradictions, because, it actually made it worse. And I think it melted her down more because she didn't know how to articulate her feelings and her emotions, and it created more frustration and more emotional angst, which may have carried it over longer throughout the day. And so my wife and I talked about it, and she did it in a really great way where she asked me questions about, the situation and how I could have addressed it better. And, and what, she obviously has a very different tact and approach. She, lets people air their concerns out, and she's no different with kids, right? She lets them voice their frustrations and emotions, lets them find time alone, and lets them kind of like simmer on it. And then she goes in there and sits with them and tries to talk them through it, and really tries to open up dialogue so they can express what they're feeling and why they're feeling that way and why they're being, negative or crabby or whatever that may be. It takes a lot longer, and I think it is probably in the end much more fruitful way of parenting, because you can actually get somewhere and you can actually have a conversation about activities and responses to circumstances. Whereas my kind of like counteraction of energy methodology may work good for adults that can reason and logic and have a lot of like objectivity and positioning that they'll have to do if you call them out on something that's unfair or hypocritical. I think for kids, it's really, really not fair, nor is it helpful or healthy. And so I have come to the conclusion that it's something that I'll have to learn over the next tour of duty here as a dad and as a parent, on how to slow down to be more calm about all the things that are happening. And as my kids start to grow up and start to experience more emotions and feelings and have a hard time articulating those, I need to be there to present them with an open mind and an open heart, and, try to talk them through what they're feeling so that I'm actually a resource for them. This episode of The Girl Dad Show is brought to you by you. We have been working very hard to bring you the best guests and content to the show, and have been steadily growing month over month. And we're finally ready to start talking to businesses that want to partner with us to promote on our show. So if you know anyone that would be interested in having me promote their business on The Girl Dad Show, please email us at young@thegirldadshow.com. Thank you for your support, and look forward to learning how to be a great parent together. I'm not saying I'm going to be great at it. I think my wife is really good at it. So I'm really happy she is naturally like that and she excels there and she has a superpower. But I do think that I need to lean a little more to the middle because I ping very hard to this kind of operational mindset of like, well, break it down logically. Why are you saying that? If you don't have a good attitude, this won't happen. And then, yeah, inevitably, we didn't end up doing the fun activities because she couldn't course correct her attitude. And it's just the way it is for me. It is what it is. And it's not always the best way to parent. And really thinking about like some of the things that I do in business are so powerful and so obvious and impactful, yet incredibly harsh and possibly even creates a divide between me and my kids. And so I think that there's value in the fact that I have those hard lines and that I try to talk to my kids about, the consequences of their activities. But at the same token, I would be very remiss if I said that I would be happy if I grew up and they had this sense of distance with me because they knew how I would react because I was so unemotionally available or unempathetic, and which is not the case, right? I do want to be their emotional support and be able to be there for them as they learn these feelings and as they learn to grow up and experience these things. Not to say that this won't ever happen again. I mean, we've had tantrums before and we've had meltdowns before and we've had days where people are, kids are just having a bad day or a bad afternoon, but typically it's been siloed to an instance or an activity or for a few hours at the most. And this was probably the first time that I've experienced this level of emotional instability all day. And not to make light of a serious situation, but it does make me worry for my future as my girls are really young. And I can't imagine what it'll be like when I have, a house full of, teenagers and we have all of those emotions and new feelings and energies that are going to be percolating. And it's a good signal. It's a good flare for me to recognize that she is a lot like me. She's very bullheaded. She's very confident. She's very righteous and adamant that she's right. And I think that it's really important for me to realize that if I don't start the process of learning a new skill or adapting to it, we're going to end up colliding and hitting heads for unnecessary reasons. I do think that it's important that there is causality, and in both girls understand and learn that, actions equal consequences, and learning how to control your emotions and being able to talk it through. But I think the act and art of learning how to work through those emotions and creating a really good decision matrix takes time, and it's very complex. And I want to be a part of that journey for my kids. And in order for me to be a part of that journey for my kids, I need to learn a new skill. And I need to learn a new skill to be more empathetic and be a little bit more patient and less logical as it relates to them discovering these emotions as they get older. And so that's kind of the big lesson that I wanted to share with you today, is just how I experienced a full day of emotional grief and how it completely changed the trajectory of the day and also now impacting my entire week. And all I can think about is how I can take all of these instances and moments and learn from it and be better, because I don't think that it'll stop. I think that these things will keep happening. And if anything, these instances will happen more and more. And I do know that I can control how I react to them. And I think that it's a very, very big difference between, the conditioning and training that I've given myself as a business coach and as a business operator and as a business owner versus a parent. And in most cases, it's so wonderful when those two things align so well. But in this instance, I'm not entirely sure it makes perfect sense. And if anything, it may actually create a divide. And so I'm hoping that I can learn a new skill over the next few years and start to be a little bit more open-minded and receptive to things that are illogical, emotional, and just unplanned, and being okay with that and learning how to just stop and be in the moment, listen, and try to be there for the experience as they learn what feelings are, what emotions they have, and really helping them navigate those feelings and thoughts so that I could be a part of their lives. And I think it's super important. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today, is the big lesson and epiphany that I had, which is really around just having these experiences of kids melting down. And although, they've done it before, and Amy has reminded me that, I just don't see it as often because I'm always working, but I've seen it even when, on the times that I have been with them, when we travel or the weekends. It's just never been this full and big, but Amy has told me it does happen. And I do think that it's really interesting for me to get to experience a full blast of it all day long, all the way into the night. And I have to say, man, it's tough. It's very, very tough. It was incredibly challenging, for your psyche, your patience, your emotions. And then it starts permeating into your physicality. Like, it just made me so physically tired, it just bummed me out that she was so bummed out and just not in a good mood. And it had such a big impact on me. And I really, really hope that, I can do a better job next time she gets into those modes. But that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today on my professional parenting journey here, as I build my professional career while I build my parenting, I build my family and try to be the best dad that I can be. I hope that it helps you along in your journey. And I would love, love, love if you could share your stories as well too, just so I know I'm not alone, and tell me some of the worst tantrums that you've had and the impacts that it's had in your day to day and also your work life, and any kind of tips and tricks that you have to help you navigate it and what you've done to overcome it. There is something that I have thought about a lot, which is, this, I can't remember when I read it. I read it somewhere, but I read somewhere, someone had written down, a good way to overcome these difficult times with your kids is to think about them when pretend that they're like 30 years old, and pretend that this is you looking into a memory of yourself when they're younger. And it'll help you understand how valuable and precious these times are. And it'll give you that patience that you're struggling to find. And it was an interesting thing that kind of struck me this morning as I woke up from yesterday's debacle, and I'm going to try to use that next time. And I think that it could be a very interesting way of combating the instinct to, immediately confront any kind of negative thoughts or mindsets, or just crabby attitudes, or self-destructive, kind of, not self-destructive, it's a very dramatic word, but just negative words, right? Negative words and sentiment and emotions. I think, I just have a very sensitive radar system for it. I try my very hardest to, not be negative, and it needs to be dialed down as my kids grow up and learn these feelings and emotions. And I need to be there for them to take them along on this journey versus being so like harsh and cutthroat about it. But I would love to hear your stories, and please tell me that this is normal, and talk to me about the impacts that it's made, and would love to hear about it from you guys as well too. But I hope this helps you on your journey. And Amy, if you're listening, you are an amazing mom and an incredibly patient parent. And I have so much gratitude and respect for you. And thank you for what you do and what you do for our family, and especially what you do for our kids. Please continue to be patient with me as I learn this new skill. And let's raise amazing kids together. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you next week. Thank you again for listening to another episode of The Girl Dad Show. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please take a moment to give us a review on your podcast service. These reviews help us grow a lot more than you know.